Hey everyone, welcome to the solutions video for Selective Prep Mathematics test number 37. So like we always do, we're just going to take a quick overview or take a quick look at a couple of topics that might have been difficult. The first of which is simultaneous equations. So I'm not entirely sure if you've all heard of this or not, but I hope you have. So simultaneous equations is just when we have two equations written with the same variables or same letters. Okay, and we're just trying to solve which letter has what value. And so there's two ways to do this. We can use elimination, which is using these two, or adding or subtracting these two equations together to have one letter left over. And so we can leave it on its own and find out what the value is. Substitution is when we find the value of one letter in terms of the other letter, just using one equation. And that's by rearranging that equation. So we'll take a quick look at an example just to see what these equations are like. So we have a plus 2b equals, I'm going to change that to 12 because it won't make sense otherwise, equals 12, and 3a plus 5b equals 32. Now for elimination to work, we need to have a common term in both in both equations. And what I mean by common term is the exact same term. So it can't be a and 3a. I want to make it 3a and 3a in both of them. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 3. So that's going to give me 3a plus 6b equals 36. And now I can do something. Now I can use it together with this second equation because they're similar. And so I'm going to subtract everything from these two equations together. So I'm going to do 3a minus 3a, 0, 6b minus 5b, which is just b, and then 36 minus 32, which is 4. And then using b equals 4, I can just sub it back in here. So 2 times 4 is 8. So a plus 8 equals 12. So a equals 4 as well. Happy days. Now, so when we use substitution now, so that was elimination. If we use substitution, we need to rearrange one of our equations to find a in terms of b, or b in terms of a, whatever you want to do. So I've done a in terms of b here. So a, and then if you move 2b over, so this should be 12. A equals 12 minus 2b. Now 12 minus 2b, if I substitute that into this second equation instead of a, what I'm going to get is 3 times 12 minus 2b instead of a, plus 5b equals 32. Now if I rearrange that, simplify it, I should get 36 minus 6b plus 5b equals 32. Okay, so 36 minus b equals 32. So 36 minus b equals 32, so b has to equal 4. Okay, and then we found out before a equals 4 using this equation here, if you sub b into that equation. Okay, so either one works. Both take around the same number of steps. It doesn't matter which one you use. That's for your judgment in terms of that question. Now, mental maths, we went through this before earlier. Basically, it can be very time consuming if you try and do every single question by writing it down. Okay, doing it in your head's a lot faster. You can't use a calculator in the exam, so that is a bit problematic. So the whole point is, if you want to do a question, try and do it in your head, as long as it's not too risky. Okay, if it's too risky, don't do it. But if you feel like you can do it, then a tip is, for mental maths, is when you're multiplying two numbers and those two numbers are both double digits, usually what you want to do is to split one of those numbers apart. And so if you have 14 times 25 here, you're going to split 14 into 10 and 4, and then multiply it by 25. So it's going to be 10 times 25 plus 4 times 25. So 10 times 25 plus 4 times 25. So 10 times 25 is just 250. 4 times 25 is 100. Add those together, 350. Quick maths, done. Now, usually this is the most efficient method, but there is one exception. So if you have a two-digit number, and it's really close to a multiple of 10, so it could be like 19 or 21 or something like that, multiply it by that 10 first, and then deal with what you need to subtract or add later on. So for example, if you have 22 times 29, change it to 22 times 30, okay, minus 1. And so that's going to give you 22 times 30 minus 22 times 1. So 22 times 30 is a lot easier than 22 times 29. So that straight away I can just tell is 660. Okay, minus 22, no big deal. We can all do that in our head. Okay, so 660 minus 22 equals 638. Now, final tip is for percentages, and so percentages can also be time consuming. So if we take a look at this example, so I think we've taken a look at this example like 3 times already, but let's just do it for anyone who's joining this week. And so we have a 40% discount for a $100 pair of shoes, and how much is the final price that is being paid for them? So a lot of people are going to go straight to calculating the discount. We don't want to do that. It's a lot of extra steps. Okay, we don't want to take because it's time consuming. So what you want to do is, we know the discount is 40%. We know that 40 or 100% minus 40% is 60%, and so it's going to be 60% of the initial price, which is $100. So 100 times 60% equals $60. Done. Now let's move on to some questions. So if a Mars bar producing company employs 5,600 people, and if 34% of the employees don't like Mars bars, how many employees actually like the chocolate bar? Okay, so we know 34% don't like it, which means that 100 minus 34 equals 66. Okay, so 66% of the people actually like it. So 66% is just 66 over 100, so 56, that 100 divided by 100 is just 56 times 66. And so I'm just going to do this written down. It's pretty hard to do this one manually. So 6 times 6 is 6, carry the 6 up, gives you 39. And so 5 times 6 here is 0, 3, 6 times 5, 33, 6, 9, 6, 3. So that should give you part C. Now question 2, 7 red marbles, 4 blue marbles. So 7R plus 4B equals 130. So 2R plus 1B equals 35. Now, what is the weight of 4 red marbles and 3 blue marbles? So let's try and find the weight of each marble. So I want to try and use, let's try and use elimination here. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 4. That gives me 8R plus 4B equals 120, 140. Okay, and I know this first equation here is 7R plus 4B equals 130. And so now I know that R equals 10. And from this, if I substitute R back into this equation, so 2 times 10 equals 20, which means that B equals 15. So 4 red marbles is 40, plus 3, which is 45, should give me 85 grams, should be part B. Now, the figure below shows 3 squares within each other. So we have 3 squares, find the area of the shaded region. It's just dark square minus light square plus dark square. So it should be 16 squared minus 11 squared plus 8 squared. So 16 squared is, so if we use the splitting up method, it should be 16 times 10. So 16 times 16, but if you split 16 up, it should be 16 times 10 plus 16 times 6. So 160 plus 96. Okay, so it's going to be 256. This is going to be minus 121, and then this is going to be plus 64. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this first, because it's smaller and it's easier to do. So 121 minus 64 is 6157. Okay, and then 256 minus 57 is 199. So that's part E right there. Now, Larry left out his water storage tank in his backyard before it rained, so it's got a length of 24, and it's got a width of 19. And we want to know how much the height changed. And so the water level in the box increased by 90 mils by Thursday night. So it rained on Tuesday, which means Wednesday and Thursday. And Tuesday, sorry. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it rained. How much water rained into the container each day on average? So it rained 3 nights, which means that each night it averaged 30 mils, or 3 centimeters. Okay, each night. So what we want to do is 3 times 24 times 19. Okay, so 3 times 24 is 72 times 19. Okay, let's try times 20 and then minus 1. So times 20 minus 1 is going to be 1440 minus 72, which is going to be 1368, which is here. Okay. Now the trapezium below, so the area of a trapezium equals height over 2 times a plus b. Okay, so what's a plus b? A plus b is 88 plus 82, which is just 170. Height is 18 over 2, so times 9. So let's try splitting it up again. So 170 times 10 minus 1. So that's just 1,700 minus 170, which is 1,530 centimeters cubed, which is in part E. So at halftime, so this is a soccer game, ice hockey match. And so Lazy Lions had scored 20% of their total points in the annual hockey match against the Crazy Kites. So in the second half, the Crazy Kites scored a further 15 points. If there were 30 points scored altogether, how many points did the Lazy Lions score in the first half? So before the second half, where they scored 15 points, there would only have been 15 points scored overall. And so 20% of that, or 1/5, is going to be 3. Now, Bobby has 20% more prize candies than Bob, while Bob has 33%. So this is the one where we work backwards. And so Billy has 60 candies. Brian has 25% more. So he has got a quarter more. Quarter of 60 is 15. So Brian has 75. Brian, and then this is Billy. So Brian's got 75. Bob has a third more than Brian. So Brian, a third of 75 is 25. So Bob has 100. And Bobby has 20% more than Bob. So 100, 20% more is of 100 is just 20. So Bobby should have 120. Question 8. A moving semi-trailer is 3 meters wide, 4 meters high, 15 meters long. So we just want to see how many times each of these values can go into these. So sometimes just trying to measure the volume and then how many times one volume goes into another volume can be incorrect. Okay, sometimes it's not a perfect fit. So I don't exactly have the time to explain that in a bunch of detail, but sometimes volume going into a volume is not realistic, and so we want to see how many times each corresponding length or width or height goes into the other, into the total width, height, or length. So let's match them up. So 50 centimeters would correspond to 3 because they're the smallest values in each dimension. 60 and 4, and then 75 and 15. So 3 meters, which is 300, divided by 50 equals 6. So in terms of height, we can stack. In terms of width, we can stack 6 boxes side by side. 4 divided by 60, so that's actually, what I might do is try and do 75 into 3. So 300 divided by 75 equals 4. Okay, it goes in 4 times, so we can stack 4 side by side. I'm going to put 50 and 4 meters together. So 400 divided by 50 equals 8, and 60 and 1500. 1500 divided by 60 should give me what? 150 divided by 6 is 25. So if we do 4 times 8, actually let's do 8 times 25 first. 8 times 25 equals 200 times 4 equals 800. Okay, so we want to see how many times each length fits into the other length, and that'll give us a more exact idea of how many times a crate can actually fit into the truck. Question 9, combinations. So it's just a multiplying events that occur. So 21 handshakes take place. How many persons or people must have been at the meeting? And so if, for example, I have like 7 people, okay, 7 people, the first person to shake hands is going to shake 6 people's hands, or 6 other people's hands. Now the second person to shake hands is going to shake 5 hands, because they've already shook hands with the first person, and so they're going to shake hands with 5 new people. Okay, third person is going to shake 4, fourth person is going to shake is going to shake 3, and then 2, then 1. Last person is going to shake 0. So person 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 dot. This is person 7. Now what does that add up to? 11 plus 4, which is 15, plus 3, which is 18, plus 2, which is 20, plus 1 equals 21. And that's what we're looking for. So it's 7 people. Okay, that one was a bit more of a trial and error, but now that you know how it works, you can actually work backwards to do it. I just needed to explain it from the start with an example, just so you knew why that happened. So now that you do know why we can do this, okay, you can work backwards to see how many people actually are in the room for 21 handshakes to occur. We're going slightly over time, but bear with me. So question 10, find the value of x in this figure. This is just angle sum of a triangle and angles on a straight line. So angle sum of a triangle is 180. The leftover angle in here should be, so this is 90 plus 26, which is 116. So if we subtract these two, we should get 64. So this angle here is 64. And angles on a straight line are equal to 180. So this is 64, which means that this is 180 minus 64, which is 116. Sorry, 16. So part B. Now, final question, I believe. Over the week, Tulip Farm sold $3,600 worth of tulips. They're on sale, 20% sale, and tulips are originally priced at $180. So if they're on a 20% sale, how much are they each worth? That is going to be 80%. So what is that? 18 times 8. So 180 divided by 10 times 8, which is 80%. And that's going to be 144. So 144, and that's what we're trying to divide 360 by. So 144 goes into 3,600, so it goes into 360 twice, 288, remainder of 72. And I believe that goes into 725 times, so it should be C. Am I correct? Yes, it should be right. Sorry, I'm just going to double check that. Yes, it should be 25. So yep, that was the last question. A couple of key points was using simultaneous equations. Okay, you can use elimination or substitution. Mental maths, if it's close to 10, multiply by 10, that 10 first, and then clean it up afterwards. And then percentages, calculate the final percentage in one step to save time. Alright, good job everyone. We went a bit over time in this video, but thanks for bearing with me. I will speak to you again next week.